think in the next we will have more time to share about our experience and expectation and also what we have done after AVLD. So now I would like to invite Anh Sơn to continue your brief introduction.
Thank you so much, Chị Hằng. Hello, everyone. I'm San. I'm an AVYLD alumni last year, 2023. I'm currently an associate vice president at Impact Investment Exchange. So basically, I'm leading the investment banking and corporate advisory team in Southeast Asia, basically helping impact enterprises to get access to capital. And AVYLD is one of my best experience so far, and I would love to share with you all more about that at a later stage. I'm sorry, I'm in the remote area of Sri Lanka, so my internet connection is not that good, but hopefully it would be okay. So I will pass to Kelly to introduce herself.
Thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. My name is Tuyền, or many people call me Kelly too. So I'm the alumni of AVYLD 2023 last year. I'm currently the founder of DL Community. It's an impact-driven company providing content, skill, experience, and job for in sustainability field, targeting young professional in Vietnam. So yeah, I'm very honored to be here to share with you my experience with AVYLD and a lot of opportunity created after that.
Awesome. Thank you all. So I guess the first question I have for all the three speakers is that what motivated you to apply to the dialogue in the first place? Could you maybe like walk us through your, journey of, from starting to apply, like, saw the news on social media and then actually applying to the dialogue? What motivated you? What do you think that you find appealing and attractive about this program? I'll ask Anh Sơn to go first.
Thank you so much, Lynn. So I can just go quickly. When I knew about this, dialogue AVYLD, right, and then I saw, professionally, actually I've been working in the impact investment industry, and I know that the Australian government has been very active in this space, especially for some initiatives coming from DEPA. And I want to apply and learn more about those initiatives. And then I actually talked to some alumni in the past. They got positive experiences with the dialogue, and I felt very amazed by how engaged the alumni community, after the dialogue. This is very unique about AVYLD. And then the third thing, I think, is my personal motivation as well, because I was born in Mekong Delta, and I lived there for 18 years before I'm moving to Ho Chi Minh City. So the theme of the dialogue last year was also about the Mekong Delta, and we celebrated the 50-year anniversary between two countries. So it was very unique. So at the point I applied for AVYLD, it was a no-brainer that I should apply for it, for both professional reasons and personal reasons.
Thank you, Anh Sơn. How about you, Kelly? What motivated you? What you found appealing about this program that made you like, I have to be a part of this?
Yeah, very good story, because I always have a fond feeling for Australia, but I never had a chance to participate into any like official Australian program. So 2022, actually I applied and I get rejected. So, and then I feel, okay, maybe it's not meant to be. And then 2023, when I saw the program announcing that looking for a new delegate, one thing that actually appealed to me to reapply again is because I love Mekong region. So I would love to do something more in the Mekong region. So that's why the topic is, about Mekong. So I say, I have to do it. I have to reapply again and see if I get lucky this time. And the second factor is because chị Hương actually, who's the one who motivated me to say, to send me and say, hey, Kelly, you should apply. And I say, okay, maybe this year is it's a destiny. So that's why I just applied. And I think that's amazing because it opened the door for me in terms of like opportunity to work more in the Mekong region. And I will share with you more why later in the later section. Yeah.
And how about you, Chị Hằng? What, like, I'm very curious about your journey to AVYLD because I don't think it's a very common path from, medical field to this, bilateral relationship promotion. Love to hear more from you.
Yes, thank you, Linh. Yes, when I'm remembering why I applied for AVLD, I think it is because I didn't know it through the social media channel, but because the previous alumni, we have one from our university, Mr. Khánh, and then he introduced me this program. And at first, I didn't feel confident. I must say that I didn't feel confident because Mr. Khánh comes from public health. So I think he has many common points with this program. But for myself, I'm coming from like medical field, like I'm really a solely doctor and a clinical researcher. So at first, I didn't feel the relationship between medical field and leadership skills. And I don't know how to prove myself that I'm appropriate with this program. But the two motivations, I think that made me create a very curiosity and I decided to apply. The first is that I want to over the safe zone because medical field and working very specifically in my field every day is something like a routine activity. So I really want to have new friends. I really want to explore about other fields and want to find out the opportunities to collaborate. So that is the first thing I want once in my life to think about cross the normal routine way. The second thing is that in our medical training program in Vietnam, we did not have a chance to understand much about leadership skills. But when I grow up in my career pathway, I find out that there are many soft skills, including leadership skills, that will be very helpful for you to understand about yourself first, and then to have a sustainable ecosystem around you. So that is why I feel like I want to try, I want to study. It is a huge motivation. I want to know more about myself and want to have new friends and also have to have the new collaboration for the future career pathway and development of myself. So I think that is enough for me to take a chance. And luckily, I was chosen in that year, but that year is COVID-19. So I still remember that the interview is I'm in the hospital, and then after that COVID-19 come and it's collapsed like that. And then I must told Chị Thảo interview me that time that, oh my God, it is the hospital closed now, so I have to run now. So it is something very memorable. But I think like Kelly, I agree that sometimes it happens because it's just the time and you have a chance and then it happens. So thank you.
I love that. I really love, the growth mindset that you just share with us. And so the next question would be, looking back, what aspect of the dialogue do you find most impactful in shaping your career and personal development? Would you want to go first, Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think less than a years ago, in September 2023, we was in Cần Thơ, and then Ho Chi Minh City. But I remember that, I felt like, very close because, again, because I love the Mekong region. So that's why I'm very excited to go there and see and learn about the region. And also, amazing thing is also meeting a lot of people working on sustainability, also leaders from Australia and Vietnam that care about social development and people development. So that's why I feel like, it's a really great experience. Like, we had a lot of extra activity, like we going out for food, local food. And we also talking to each other, debate which city is better. It was fun. It's 11 a.m. p.m. Sorry, we're still hanging out and debating about which city is better. But that's actually build a connection because before, for me, like I say earlier in the past, I always had a fond feeling for Australia because my first job was Australian company. but I never get a chance to actually understand what Australia is about. And I also want to learn, what is Australia thinking about the Mekong region and Vietnam relationship. So that's why having that experience meeting all the delegates, and especially the delegates, is also kind of like my generation. But they were living in Australia, even they're Vietnamese or foreigner, and also Vietnamese here. So when we met, we talk a lot about what kind of thinking that our generation had about development, about what the society should be like, what is matter to us. And I think that's super fascinating, because I think that's actually building the connection between not just two countries, but also the people in the two countries understanding each other. Because I'm from Vietnam, I'm living my whole life here, I never live overseas. So hearing what all the delegates, especially from Australia, Vietnamese Australian, talk about their experience, why they want to learn about Vietnam, when I want to go back to Vietnam, it's really cool, because that means there's a lot of connection already there, but we need to nurture it. And this dialogue is actually a way to nurture it, to nurture the connection and also help us to understand each other better. So I think that's a few things that I love. One is the experience, second is the connection, the third is the relationship that we built from the dialogue. And I will share with you more that actually create a lot of things later between me and a few delegates, and happy to share more. Yes.
Thank you. And how about you, Chị Hằng? What was most impactful for you from this dialogue?
I think there are two things. The first thing is that I feel very lucky because I have been motivated a lot, and also have been provided the skills to understand about myself more. So that is very important. So I think it is the way that sometimes there is some moment in life you will be stuck with the questions: who you are, what you want to define your criteria, or what do you want other people to remember you in the career pathway or in the life personal pathway. And that is the same to me, because when I joined the dialogue, I'm like 34 or 35. So for the career, it is the time that you start to settle down with your own projects. And for personal life, it is also the same. But sometimes when you want to define your own happiness, your own expectation in life and career, you have to understand about yourself. So that is the most important thing that I think AVLD, according to one intensive course or 1 week, I have a chance to understand myself really deeply, and I have experienced many tasks that help me to figure it out easier. So that is the first one. The second thing is that I really love the motto of that year is like, if you want to make the change, create the change. So please be the changer, create the changer. So I use that motto when I'm back to my academic environment, because I'm a lecturer and I have the role to educate for the younger generations. So I feel like, oh yes, if you just sit there, judge the younger generation, why we don't have the good one, why they still like that, why they cannot be a good doctor, or why they don't pay attention to clinical research, etc., etc. I think instead of complaining and judging like that, another aspect is that create an environment for them so they have a chance to change themselves, and motivate them, give them the ideas why they need to change, and also give them the pathway how they can change. So that is what I learned from AVLD. And I also learned from the experience of many friends in AVLD, and also from many stories from the panelists there. So when I come back to my environment, I feel the same motto, and I keep that motto in my career, and I feel relieved because I know the way now. I don't need to spend much time to think of negative. I spend much time on creating the change and pushing and motivating to set up a sustainable environment for the younger generation. So I think that is also a very impactful way when I reflect about my journey in AVLD.
That was very inspiring and powerful, Chị and for Son, I'm curious about, like I would love to learn more about how, like if there was any particular moment or aspect of the AVYLD last year that significantly impacted your career direction towards impact investing and your work at IIX that you are doing now.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I think it was the leadership development component of the dialogue, because I don't know, so for this year, but last year when we did the dialogue, we actually got exposure to different workshops and then site visits to different, businesses in Vietnam as well, and talked to top leaders in different fields. And I felt like the leadership development component was a highlight for me, because you're gonna dive deeper into, question about yourself, your past, your present, and then your legacy to what you want to do in your future. And it's not easy like that because you need a very great facilitator and you need to be in the right group of people, which I think is very important. That I met, a lot of amazing people last year, and it will help me to rethink about my leadership journey, right? So for me, leadership is more like you need to work on yourself, understand yourself, and then you need to work well with others and the communities around you and actually contribute something to the society. And the leadership helped me to work more on the, contributing to the society and working with your community a little bit more. And I think this was a highlight. And also I got exposure to, different SDGs last year and how we gonna solve, the issues in the context of Vietnam, with Australian perspective and the global outlook as well. So I think the leadership development component was actually a highlight. And also, I was in the right group of people and got exposure to different SDGs.
Thank you, Son. I have a follow-up question on that. How has your definition of leadership evolved since participating in AVYLD 2023?
Yeah, that was a very interesting question. Because I think before AVYLD, it was more on, working on my inner self, to, cultivate the skills and knowledge needed for the profession, and also to kind of work well with others. So when I came to AVYLD, I actually work on the leadership development component of the dialogue with other delegates as well, right? So you need to show some, vulnerabilities in those sessions, to be really honest about yourself and to share those with, fellow delegates, that knowing that you are in the set environment. So there's no judgment or, difficulties from other people. So that way I can actually evolve the leadership perspective from, working for my inner self, working well with others to, contribute to society, knowing that, there's so many SDGs that we need to achieve in 2030. That's the global agenda. But when you put it in the Vietnam context, you need to talk to people who are working on the ground in Mekong Delta to really understand how those issues actually happen in the field. And you have other Australian delegates who can give you more perspective on how they're going to solve it in Australia and the global outlook as well. We think about it. So I think after AVYLD, my leadership, evolved from, working from inner self, working with other people to contribute to society a little bit more. So to basically broaden my horizon about leadership.
Thank you. I really like that. How about you, Kelly? You are also a leader in the field of community, social impact, youth empowerment. How has your definition of leadership changed or evolved before and after joining the program?
Yeah, one of the things that I love about the program, there was I'm not sure this year there's still the component about storytelling. So basically, the program designed a way that let you reflect about your own story and build up from there. So I think that is really important, because I think most of the time when we go to work, when we grow up, we just do what we do because a lot of people, you know, assume or force or pressure us to do what we do. And sometimes because we have different kind of like interests, so we want to follow different kind of things. But being able to reflect on your own story, why you do what you do, is very important, because that means you can understand why you choose this path instead of another path. And also allow you to reflect on what is matter for you and how you can imagine the future for the better. So I think that component is super important to help build that kind of authentic leadership, because sometimes I think the pressure is we have to prove ourselves, like, okay, we have to be this kind of leader, that kind of leader, or we need to be achievement in many things. But just being able to understand who you are as a leader and what you can do in your own way, in different way, you can actually contribute a lot already. And working together, like Sir mentioned, is already helpful. And one of the questions that another delegate asked me during the program is that, exactly this question, what have you learned or evolved about the leadership meaning? And I remember answer him, I think it's more like reinforcing what I believe in leadership. Because before, I only has to believe that, you know, we should empower people to do good. We should empower young people. We should empower other people to be who they are and do meaningful things in the world. But being able to that in the program, listening or reflecting on my own story, I actually believe in that. And I think that is actually amazing, because normally before, when you have that kind of thinking, you think, oh, this is, you know, what I believe. But when you have a opportunity to reflect on that and tell the story around that, you know that that makes sense why you believe in that, and actually it's reinforce what you believe, and it help you to continue to do what you do later on, because you know deep down this is what my belief is, and help you grow more stronger in the future. So that is my experience about the leadership at the program. Yeah.
So knowing yourself is very important in defining your leadership style, right? Because change comes from within first and foremost before it comes from any other external factors. That's what I understood from Chị Kelly's sharing. And how about you, Chị Hằng? Given the diverse international exposure at the AVYLD, how has this influenced your approach to healthcare solutions in Vietnam, especially concerning international collaboration and technology transfer?
Yeah, thank you, Linh, for this question. But before coming to that, I really want to add a minor comment on what Einstein and Kelly just mentioned. Because I think my background is a little different to the previous two speaker, because I'm from the public sector. So you know that sometimes the definition of leader in the way of the people working in public sector is different to the way we are talking about. So that is one of the things that I think also have changed my mind, because in fact, when I applied this program, I was not a leader of anything. So I just think like, okay, my main work is a clinical doctor. I also a leader of a research team, but is it really a leader, right? So I mean that the leader in the public sector meaning is like manager or have the power to ask people do something. But when we join the dialogue, we know that the leader definition is different. And I feel that you still can be a good leader in the meaning that you be a connector, a guider, an influencer, and you know how to choose an appropriate style for your own team. So that is what I have studied, and I want to add on from the view of someone working in public sector. And coming back to your question about the diversity, especially in the, I think in AVLD there are two things very interesting. Diversity in the cross specialty, because we have so many different areas: medicine, education, business, right? So it is like cross the specialty. We know, for example, I'm in an academic world, so this is the first time I have heard something very different to my normal mindset. So this is one very interesting thing. The second thing is the diversity in culture. Vietnamese culture, Australian culture. So it is different culture. And another thing is that I think the diversity of culture and the diversity of background make me like create a very, how to say, it is open up something very challenging in your mind. So when I work as a doctor, I never thought much about how to apply technology, AI in my clinical practice. But when I talk to some friends in AVLD, I have some very close buddies in AVLD, and I also have heard many similar stories in different fields. I find out that I can really open my channels by myself. I can use technologies in my own healthcare sectors. And in fact, after AVLD, I have done some projects regarding to AI, regarding to smartphone apps for the patients. And it is inspired a lot from the activities and from the lessons I study from AVLD.
Thank you, Chị-Hằng. I really love that you continue on to engage with the community after the program through your projects in AI and technology. So I want to ask anh Xuân and chị Kelly about your engagement. Like, how do you continue and plan to continue to engage with the AVYLD community after your program? Because I know that you guys participated just last year. So what is your engagement with the community plan looks like, and how does this engagement benefit your current projects or initiatives?
Okay, I can say first. After the AVLD dialogue, I got accepted by another program by Australian government. That I went to Australia for 2 weeks, learn about climate change. Like this is a master class organized by University of Queensland and funded by Australian government. I think was one of the alumni of the AVYLD opened that opportunity for me, because now I'm part of kind of like Australian and Vietnam relationship, and I think that's show us that the power of being in the network and in the community. And also what I love is after the program ended, we as alumni also engaged with each other. We met each other in Vietnam, and because last time I was in Australia, I'll be able to catch up with delegate from Sydney, and we hang out, we talk a lot about different stuff. And we also still keep in touch, working together on a few things. And what I love about AVYLD or AVLD is that everybody's care. So I remember after the program finished, a few steering committee people already reached out to me and say, "Hey Kelly, can we sit down and learn what you do, and can we help you with that?" I think that's amazing, because normally you participate in a program and that when it finishes, but I feel the warmness from the AVLD team. So that's why I love it. And when I sit down with a few steering committee, they actually want to help me and say, "Oh, anything that you want us to help, let us know." And right now, actually, I'm working with one to help developing something in the Mekong. And also, after the AVYLD dialogue, I also was get involved into AVYX, so like Australia Vietnam Young Executive Network is also another initiative by AVLD. So I'm happy, because that means I can be able to engage more, not just a participant, because that means I now can participate as a steering committee for AVYX, focus on people development, and using that kind of a role to facilitate and help push forward a connection between Vietnam and Australia, especially young Vietnamese and young Australian, so we can build more connection for the targeting in sustainability and climate change. So I think, after the AVYLD, there's a lot of things happened to me, building more stronger connection with Australia, and I find very exciting, and I hope that I can share with you more later on after this section, of course, but like more result and achievement from the relationship.
That's super exciting to hear that you have so much going on in the field of Vietnam Australia leadership bilateral relationship. So people go follow to Kelly on Facebook. She's gonna share more on her journey outcomes of what she has been working on. And how about you, Angsa? Do you share the same sentiments regarding this excitement and this community after the program?
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. I actually feel the same way. I just want to echo what Kelly just mentioned, right? I just want to reiterate the importance of alumni engagement of AVYLD, because after AVYLD, we got a couple of reunions in Ho Chi Minh City among, Vietnamese delegates. And actually, they celebrated my birthday party in Ho Chi Minh City last year in December. So it was very unique, and we not only keep the connection after during the dialogue, but after dialogue, when I had a business trip to Europe, so basically in Germany, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Belgium, right? So I met two Australian delegates. They actually got on the same week of the business trip with me. So I actually got to catch up with two other delegates again, and professionally, after the dialogue, I got to join some events and conferences organized by Australian government, even some roundtable discussion with the Australian government as well. And now I've been working on one project in Vietnam to basically improve the impact investment ecosystem in the country, and currently working on another project in Cambodia. Basically, it's an investment matchmaking project for the agri-food industry in Cambodia. So as you know, Cambodia is part of the lower Mekong region. So that's after the dialogue, with the Sinop Mekong Delta, I've been continuing my work in Vietnam and expanding in Cambodia as well, working for the Mekong region. So I think just want to reiterate again, right? So alumni engagement is very important and it's quite unique. At AVYLD, that I have never seen anything like that in other, bilateral relation conference or like events. And it's actually very human, very authentic, connection with your fellow delegates, not only from Vietnam, Australia, but you have the whole ecosystem around you after a dialogue. So it's not about the, the Australian government alone, but you have, the business community in Australia, Australian alumni coming from Australian awards, scholarship. You got to meet those people, and you have a connection, and you actually expand the impact of your current work, and also you have more opportunities that you have never thought of after a dialogue. So I just want to agree what Kelly just mentioned, and just want to add on a bit from my perspective.
Thank you, Angsen. It's super great to hear that you're also continue being a part of the community and doing so much more after the dialogue. So one last question for all three speakers before we jump on the Q&A session, as our attendees also have some burning questions. So based on your experience, what advice would you give to applicants during the application process with AVYLD? Thi Hằng, I would love to pick your brain on this first, because you have kind of some sort of more special path to the dialogue. So yeah, what advice would you give to the applicants who want to apply to this program?
Yeah. I think for the applicants this year, I think my advice is that before you apply this program, maybe spend a little time to explore about what AVLD have done and what are the applicants of the recent years. So you will have an overview of the program you will join. So it will help you to prepare some skills, and also it will prepare for you some like what you want to do in this program. That is also a very important point. Don't just apply for fun, right? Because I must say that the interview is not so easy. I feel like the interview is very challenging. So I think when you want to do something, just remember why do you want to do it. And the second thing is that try to be yourself, because this is a dialogue to help you to improve yourself, to be the better version of yourself. And when you are a better version of yourself, you can make the change and impact on other people. So don't be shy, be yourself. Maybe we will have a very diversity of thinking because we have diversity of background, we have diversity of experience and diversity of fields and cultures, etc. But the main point is that the diversity make the collaboration and make the connection and make the colorful of the program. So I think my only two advice is just try to think about what do you want to have to study from this program. And second, be confident, be yourself. You don't need to perform like you are a real leader, because for a real leader, maybe they don't need any skills or any environment like this. The problem is that you have the motivation to change. So that is the most important point. Yeah. So that is my summary about the journey I have done.
Thank you, chị Hằng. How about you, chị Kelly?
Yeah, I think chị Hằng says very well. I just want to add two things. The first thing is because it's this is a program to promote the relationship between Australia and Vietnam and a connection between Australia and Vietnam. I recommend you to study a bit the history about between the two countries to understand what is matter for the relationship between two countries, and also see what can you add value, because I think most of the time when we participate in program, we want to learn from the program, that's for sure. But also I think if we can do, like, we can showcase that what we can add value in terms of like what we do, who we are, what our capability that can help strengthen the relationship between the two countries. I think that can be a very good convincing point. The second part is, again, don't give up, because I failed once. So maybe this year, try your best. You did best. You do your best, but you never know when it's come. And if you do your best, at least you already expose yourself to the environment. And I think that can lead to a lot of meaningful thing or beautiful thing later. Yeah.
I love that you gave us a second chance, chị Kelly. So advice to applicants, if this year doesn't work, there's always next year. But do apply this year though. How about you, Anh Sơn? What's your advice for the applicants?
I think I will give some of the recommendations, because it's exactly what I did last year. So I actually watched 2 recordings about the information section back in 2019 and 2021, right? And I remember that I watched those recordings and note down some of the keywords that the delegates actually mentioned about the AVYLD. Now, this is very important, because I actually noted down every keyword that I could hear from Mark, Louise, and Angie, and then other delegates in the past. So if you can watch those 2 recordings and these recordings, you will find some common patterns about AVYLD, what it is and what it stands for. So that is the best advice I can give to future applicants, to watch those. And I think for my part, right, I think this is not the AVYLD is not just a bilateral relation events, a conference, but I would say that try to think about what makes you stand out among other applicants, because that is not the place for you to showcase as many achievements as possible. But I would say be more authentic and be personable about your application. Think about how you can contribute to the Vietnam and Australia bilateral relation with your current work and your future work, and the impact plan as well. And be authentic is something that I really emphasize during the application process, because the selection committee, they spend years reading thousands of applicants, so they can tell whether you actually have the genuine interest in this dialogue, in this relationship. And you basically, if you come in as a delegate, you're basically part of the family, the community, the Australian and Vietnam, AVYLD community. So it's very crucial that you show your genuine self in the application. So it's very easy for the selection committee and also for us to kind of understand what you want to do and what the dialogue can help you for your future plans as well.
Thank you, Anh Sơn. That was solid advice. So we have around like 10 minutes to address some questions that we received from our attendees. So the first one is, as I have seen all previous delegates are founders, CEO, so what if now I'm working as an officer in private sector? How can I demonstrate leadership skills? Anyone in our three speakers would like to take this question? Well, before I ask our speaker to share, we can see that like even today within our three speakers, they come from, you know, very diverse background. Chị Hằng comes from like medical field, Anson is in investment, and Kelly is in, you know, social impact, community. So, you know, like our delegates are very diverse. There's no formula to get selected. So it doesn't matter whether you are in private sector or public sector. We encourage all of you to apply and show your true colors, because it is that different that adds to the beauty and the diversity of our program. So I don't think whether you're in private or public, that's a big deal. Like whether it's a deal breaker or it's something gonna get you into the program, because it's like holistic admission. So yes, and regarding the question, how can I demonstrate leadership skills? Maybe Anh Sơn, do you want to take this? How did you demonstrate your leadership skills in your application?
I think because like AVYLD, I actually also got a tutoring scholarship, which is a leadership development scholarship, right? So I think my approach to demonstrate leadership is quite simple. So I define leadership, what leadership means to me, and then I actually tell the story from when I build my career. So leadership starts from yourself first, when you actually have the discipline to pursue something that you believe in, and then you have the discipline, you know, over long period of time, and you demonstrate results. And during that period or that time, right, you basically work with other people, how you actually motivate other people and, you know, convince other people, and then for other people to join you in any, you know, activities, movement, whether it's that at school or like at workplace or at community. So for me, I come from private sector, right? So I demonstrate, you know, while at school, I took some initiatives, and then at the workplace, how I initiated something, and then along the way, what I have found out, whether it's go in the right direction or the wrong direction, and how I respond to that, to keep the discipline and to call in support of other people. And when there was a crisis happen, how you're gonna resolve that, like within yourself, and then how you interact with other people to keep everyone on the same page. So I think it's very important that you actually show that you understand yourself, what you stand for, and you actually pursuing something for the long period of time. And during that way, how you show initiative, how you work with other people, and connect with your plans, future plans as well. How you're gonna actually build up on that, those experiences that you put in the application. So I think it's my way of, you know, showing a leadership potential, but it's different from different sector and different, you know, cases that you need to find out for yourself.
Right. Chị Hằng previously mentioned a very good point regarding leadership in private sector and public sector. Do you have anything to add on this, Chị Hằng?
Yes, I think I understand the question from the member here is that like this. It is very similar to my situation. Like he said that he is working in office environment and in private sector. So what is like, is he has any chance for this program? I think it depends on how do you want to make the change or the impact on your own environment. For example, I'm a medical doctor, so I think my specialty is also narrow, but I also have the chance to work both in private and public sector, because we also have established a private institute for research. So I have to think about, if I'm a normal doctor in a public sector, so when I was provided leadership skills, will it change my mind or my career pathway? But when I think about, I have an environment to grow up the younger generation in my own institute. So that makes sense that I need the leadership skills to change the environment. So coming back to your question, I think you should ask yourself, in your own context, is the leadership skills necessary to you and have the impact on other people? So I think it doesn't depend on you are an ECO or you're working in any kind of field. But the main thing is that, do you have enough motivation to change your environment? And if you want to do it, or if you can prove you will do it with your team, I think it makes sense. Please try, because this is a very good chance. Yeah.
Thank you, Chị Hằng. I think the questions about leadership and what kind of leadership that the program is looking for is one of the topics that like came up most frequently when we ask our attendees and registrants to send in the questions for speakers. So I would like to ask Chị Kelly, because we have this one questions from our form that says, how do you define the youth leadership and international relations between Australia and Vietnam that the program is seeking? Because it seemed like before you apply, you did a lot of homework and research about the field. So, Chị Kelly, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, great question. Actually, I just want to add a few things that link to this question from the previous question is that, you know, I'm sure that I'm not the only founder apply for the program. And that's and I get selected maybe because of the reason. That doesn't mean you are founder, that means you get selected. I think the one of the thing I want to add about why you should apply, even you're not a founder, even you're not a CEO, because the program is about young leader, and also you need to showcase that why you should be invested as a leader, right? Because the program looking for young leader, that means you have the potential, but you don't have enough opportunity yet or enough support yet. So if you can showcase that, like, okay, if you select me, if the program select me, I'll be able to do more in my field. That means I can showcase more my leadership. And I think that's really helpful. And also it would bring a lot of like value to the program. And that's what I would suggest it. And the question about how young leader add value to the relationship between Vietnam and Australia, and I also mentioned in the interview, is that, you know, I think most of the time when we talk about development, we talk about, you know, change and also a lot of big things, macro thing in the world. We think that, you know, young people is the future, are the future of the country, right? But one time I learned this saying very powerful. Somebody that I listened from the US when I was in the US, he said that young people is the present of the country, because we're here, we're not disappearing, we're here. And even younger generation, they here, they are assist, and they have their needs, they have their dream. But most of the time we don't listen to young leader because we think they don't have enough experience, they don't have enough you know, like wisdom for us to listen. But I think if we be able to empower them and give them voice, give them opportunity so they can work together, it's so a challenge, because in the end, you know, they will be the one who, I think they will be the one who face a lot of consequence about climate change, a lot of issue that we are seeing now. So that's why I think young leaders play a big role in the relationship, because, you know, also Vietnam is quite young population now. And I think if we can leverage that young population and learning from, you know, Australia had been doing amazing work in climate change, in, you know, technology and, you know, development, we can use it and build up what we have here, and also building the understanding between young people in Vietnam and Australia. And I think that's actually, because we talk about the partnership, we talk about the future, young people should play a big role in the future. So I really, I'm passionate about this topic, because I think this is sorry, what is that word I call? It's like overlooked issue. Sorry, overlooked issue. That means young people don't have enough voice and opportunity to actually working on something that they care about. And I think if we can unlock that, that would be amazing. So I hope that through and I not hope, but I think after the program I already have some program. I'm building a platform now to connect young people from Vietnam and Australia to work together on the sustainability. That is the idea that I pitched at AVYLD Dialogue last year. And now we are building the prototype, and hopefully this can be launched soon this year. And you can see how the platform can help young people to engage and doing meaningful things together to also strengthen the relationship between Vietnam and Australia.
Thank you, Chị Kelly. We're running out of time, so we have like 3 minutes left, and I think this will be the last question we're gonna address, because it's like it keeps recurring in our form. So, what is Chị Uyên, who is a doctor at and she's at Kiko Beach right now. So she just sent in the chat box asking, what is the most difficult challenge that you face when you apply to AVYLD? And another question that we got is that, would it be a problem if they haven't had any projects or activities related to the Vietnam-Australia partnership before? And if that's the case, then do they still stand a chance to get selected? So two things: challenge and whether or not you need previous experience in the field, to get selected. And so do you want to tackle this?
I think for this question, you don't actually need, relevant experience between the Australia and Vietnam to actually get selected. I think if you demonstrate that you work in your field, right, but you have leadership potential in your field, if you can demonstrate that and actually link what you currently doing and then your plan and how you actually can contribute to the bilateral relation, I think you stand a good chance of getting selected. For me, just my personal opinion. And what is the first part of the question again? I missed that point.
What was the biggest challenge that you faced when you applied? Your own personal,
okay.
the hardest thing that you.
Yeah, to be very honest, I applied at the last minute, at the last day. But actually, I've been working on the essays and everything way before that. So I think the biggest challenge for me is to basically link what I'm currently doing and then the future plans and knowing, doing the homework and know what AVYLD is looking for. So I spent a lot of time to read, to watch the information sessions, to actually connect it with alumni in the past, to actually ask them about the experience and how the AVYLD experience shaped their career after the dialogue and how they keep engaging with the alumni community. And that's how I found that, the application process of AVYLD is very authentic and quite, I think, as questioning yourself about yourself and about what you're gonna do as well. So it's the exercise for me as well. And I think the biggest challenge is to, spending time doing the homework, knowing, what dialogue is looking for and reaching out to alumni and basically write, those essays. And when you done enough homework, and the interview is very easy in the sense that you can just share what you already, write in the application and share your passion and motivation about your field, about the relationship between two countries and then your future plans. So I think the biggest challenge for me is to spending time doing on the homework.
Thank you, Anh. How about you, Kelly? What was the hardest challenge that you faced from your 2 times applying for the program?
I think the most difficult challenge is the overcome the fear that you get rejected again. Because I don't know, I understand when you don't get selected, there must be a reason. Maybe it's not the right person at that time, or maybe because they have more stronger candidate, or maybe the team is focused on something that you are not really strong at. So I think the more challenging is to overcome that fear. But again, like I said earlier, is not about win or lose. It's about how can you get into this process and also doing your best. And because I believe in life sometimes that you don't know what's going to happen when you make that decision. So if you think this is the right fit for you and you believe in this, just apply, because you never know what lead you to something else. That could be amazing, like what I'm doing right now, to continue with the engagement with AVLD and also with Australia and Vietnam relationship. So I definitely encourage you, even though you can worry about your title or worry about your skill, your experience, just apply, because you never know, and showcase what you can be, because this is about young leader. So I think the program would appreciate those candidates.
Thank you, Chị Kelly. We're running out of time, but I'm gonna let Chị Hằng, share her last thoughts on, the challenge and have some final words to our attendees today.
Yeah, thank you. I think I have a very similar opinions with Kelly and Stern in the way I think that is the most challenging is that maybe the applicants will wonder whether they are appropriate to the program or not. So I think you can think about two things. First, do you have enough motivation? What is your plan in the future? And second, do you really want to change yourself to be a young leader? So as Kelly say, I think it is very inspiring and it's the core value when we think about whether we should apply or not. And so when you are very clear about that point, so please feel free to share frankly your own stories, your experience, and also if you don't have any projects ongoing, just share about your thoughts, your plans. What do you want to do to change the current situation or the current task you are dealing with? So I think that is enough to show yourself. And that will be enough to show whether you are appropriate to the program or not. And I think for the very, very last minute, thank you for inviting us. We also have a very good time to reflect about our journey, and we hope that we can inspire, motivate you a leader. So we hope that after this program, more and more applicants will appear in this year, and we hope that AVLD will have great, promising candidates this year. So thank you all for giving us a chance to join the webinar today.
Thank you, Chị Hằng. Thank you, Chị Hằng, for the final remarks of this info session. That's also marks the end of our webinar. Thank you. A special thanks to our three speakers who spent their Sunday morning sharing and being here with us. It was super inspiring and insightful. And thank you all to our attendees who attended the webinar today. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email via info@australiavietnam.org. Follow us on social media. We'll be very active in responding, both via email and via socials. So, and I think our guest speakers would also be happy and willing to address your, your personal, any questions personally. So feel free to reach out to them on social media. Their Facebooks they're pretty popular in the field, so you can easily find their Facebook on our page as well. So yes, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your weekend, and see you in our info session number 2.
Thank you, Linh. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye. See you
Nice
soon.
Sunday.
Bye
See
bye.
you. Yeah.